Several times in the movie Fight Club, the narrator and Tyler pose an interesting question to each other. That question being, if you could fight anyone in the world, who would you fight? And of course, the answers given by the respective characters, in typical Fight Club fashion, are layered with meaning. Let's explore. On one instance, Tyler and the narrator are walking to the bus stop when the narrator poses the aforementioned question.
If you could fight any celebrity, who would you fight?
Alive or dead?
Doesn't matter, who'd be tough?
Hemingway. You?
Shatner. I'd fight William Shatner.
First, let's examine Tyler's desired opponent. Tyler says he would fight Hemingway, referring of course to the American novelist Ernest Hemingway. For Tyler, Ernest Hemingway is an interesting answer, because Hemingway shares very interesting parallels with Tyler. First, Hemingway's works like Indian Camp, In Our Time, or Big Two-Hearted River are riddled with hypermasculine prose and characters, as well as blatant disregard for the plights of female characters. Like Tyler, Hemingway promotes these hypermasculine traits by glorifying men who embody them and castigating men who do not. But hypermasculine reverence is not the only thing these two have in common. Allegedly, Hemingway liked to shadowbox while walking down the street and would even encourage his friends to get into the ring for friendly bouts. Sound familiar?
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Also like Tyler, Hemingway was a fan of primitive practices and loved partaking in hunting and fishing. Moving on now to our narrator who says he would take on actor William Shatner. At the time of Fight Club's release, Shatner was an extremely notable icon of pop culture for his role as Captain Kirk in Star Trek. Now, by mentioning Shatner, the narrator could be expressing a desire to challenge mainstream media and these futuristic versions of heroes often portrayed in movies and television. Also, another interesting take on this is that some think that it was Fight Club director David Fincher's payback on Shatner for a parody that Shatner did on Fincher's film Seven. The sketch, which aired during the MTV Awards, saw Shatner poke fun at the controversial final scene of Fincher's film. Now, another time we hear this question posed is in the bathtub scene, but this time it's Tyler who poses the question.
If you could fight anyone, who would you fight?
Fight my boss, probably.
Really?
Yeah, why? Who would you fight?
Fight my dad.
Again, two interesting answers. We have the narrator who says he would fight his boss, which aligns with the narrator's newfound rejection of corporatism. Tyler, though, who is the narrator, says he would fight his dad. Here we see the narrator is struggling with more than just the emptiness of corporate life, but is also struggling with daddy issues. As his father was never around, there was no one to show the narrator how to be a man, so he constructed his own distorted version of what he thinks a real man is, that version, of course, being Tyler Durden. And guys, let me tell you right now, in my opinion, a real man, above all else, is someone who provides for and is there for his family, something the narrator's dad clearly failed to do, and now his son is facing a serious crisis of masculinity. Interestingly enough, also in this scene, the narrator mentions that his dad married and remarried several different women, moving on to a new one every 6 years. Going back now to Hemingway for a second, Hemingway did something similar, having been married 4 different times, most of which marriages lasted around 6 years.
I don't know my dad. I mean, I know him, but he left when I was like 6 years old, married this other woman, had some other kids. He did this every 6 years.
On now to the final instance where we see this question being posed.
Okay. Any historical figure?
I'd fight Gandhi.
Good answer.
How about you?
Lincoln.
Interestingly enough, the narrator says he would fight Gandhi. I mentioned in a previous video the numerous parallels between Fight Club and the Buddhist religion. And although Gandhi was of course a Hindu, Hinduism and Buddhism share very similar parallels. But the reason I think the narrator would fight Gandhi here, at least my interpretation of this, is he dislikes Gandhi because Gandhi was a non-violent pacifist who effected change. Gandhi practiced the Hindu and Buddhist religious principle of ahimsa, doing no harm, and engaged in things like meditation and his hunger strikes for his and his nation's development. This, of course, opposes the methods of Fight Club and later Project Mayhem, who promote and utilize violence, destruction, and chaos as means to effect change and to grow personally. Now here, Tyler says he would fight past American President Abraham Lincoln. Of course, Tyler gives the reasons that he would fight him because he's tall and lanky, but there could be something else going on here. Abraham Lincoln is regarded as a symbol of progress. He, of course, passed the 13th Amendment, which made slavery unconstitutional. This combats what Tyler is doing under Project Mayhem, essentially utilizing his space monkeys, who are more or less slaves, as means to revert progress and reinstitute primitivism. Hey, thanks for watching. If you guys are enjoying my content, I kindly ask that you support me on Patreon. Here, you get behind-the-scenes access into my creative process, you can connect with me directly, and have me create future videos based on your requests. Thanks again for watching this one, and I'll see you next time.